All right, I'm going to do this quick coaching video. As much as it pains me to talk about this, I just found out about it myself, and I'm a little late to the parade, but I just found out that Emmett Smith's wife, okay, just filed for divorce. And in case you guys don't know who Emmitt Smith is, Emmitt Smith was the Hall of Fame running back for the Dallas Cowboys during their Super Bowl run back in the early 90s to mid 90s. And he was responsible for a lot of the success that the Cowboys had back then. And as you guys know, I'm a huge Cowboys fan, as you can tell here. And I wasn't even planning on doing this coaching video. It just came up because a few of my subscribers asked me to cover it. And I'm actually out here traveling, I'm working, I have other content that I need to shoot. As you can see here, I'm kind of like set up to shoot other content. Got the lights going over here, the little studio lights, and I'm in my hotel room. I've got an amazing view here. And had to put on my Cowboys gear for this, man. Had to put on my Cowboys gear. I usually travel with this shirt. I work out in this Cowboys workout shirt, and I have this baseball cap in the back of my car at all times because I'm that much of a Cowboy fan. But let me dive into what happened to Emmitt Smith, why his wife filed for divorce. I've seen a few other YouTubers cover it, and the people who covered it aren't really dating coaches, so they just really kind of gave their opinion on it. But I'm going to tell you the real reason, the ugly truth about why Emmitt Smith's wife decided to file for divorce after, 2 decades. They were married for quite a while. Now, just to give you a little backstory, his wife, her name's Pat Smith, right? She was married to Martin Lawrence at one point. So if you guys didn't know, she was first married initially to Martin Lawrence, the comedian, back in the 90s. Okay, and back then, it was actually Martin who filed for divorce from her. Okay, he filed for divorce from her. And after Martin, she met Emmitt Smith. And then she was like, oh, another high-value male, another famous guy. I'm going to hook up with him, right? And then they fell in love and they got married. And it seemed like they were a happy couple for quite a while. I only remember when he first married her, and I would see them in interviews and on television. Obviously, she looked very happy because this was the very beginning of their relationship. But as the relationship progressed, I started to see a little bit of deterioration, right? Started to see a little deterioration. And sure enough, I mean, within time, she ended up filing for divorce, which is funny because I really thought he was going to file for divorce, but she ended up filing for divorce. So let's talk about the 3 reasons, right? Because I really went through this and I really tried to analyze what happened in their marriage. I'm going to give you the 3 reasons why she filed for divorce from Emmitt Smith and why he's so devastated, right? He's like completely devastated by this. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him because apparently they have kids together. They had a house together. They built a life together. The funny thing, too, is it's not like they're young kids where, where they could just kind of like move along and just date other people. I mean, they're in their Emmitt's in his, I want to say he's in his early 50s. And Pat Smith, his wife, who filed for divorce, she is now 49 years old, right? She's 49 years old. She still looks good for her age, but leaving Emmitt Smith's probably not the best. It's probably not the best thing to do because I don't believe she's going to get a higher value male than Emmitt Smith. But the way it goes with a lot of these females, especially ones who've dated high profile men, they tend to believe that their SMV, their sexual marketplace value, is a lot higher than what it actually is in reality, right? They tend to think it's like up here when really it's down here because they no longer have their youth and their fertility that they once did back when they were in their 20s or maybe even their 30s. So The funny thing is also is I saw that they had a show at one point on the OWN network. I think that's like Oprah's network. They had like a reality show going at one point I didn't even know about, and I watched some of it before I decided to shoot tonight's coaching video. Again, I wasn't planning on doing this. This is why I'm just shooting it with my my camera phone right now, and I'm just going to upload it to my channel. So sorry if this is a little rough. You can see the lights. It's a pretty rough video, but I did want to bang this topic out while this news is still fresh. So I was watching their reality show on the OWN network, and just kind of, I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt. I want to play devil's advocate, like what's going on in her head. Why is she deciding to divorce him rather than taking Emmitt's side right away, just so I could understand it? Because the people who've covered this and their commentary on their divorce, I could see they immediately took Emmitt's side, like if they're a male, and then the females who covered it on YouTube, they immediately took Pat's side, his wife. And I didn't want to do that. I wanted to give it a really fair, like a fair red pill analysis of what actually happened, without attacking either party or putting them down or calling them out or anything like that, right? I'm just going to give my professional analysis as a professional dating coach, as a professional pickup artist, what happened, just because I've coached thousands upon thousands of guys for decades now, when their relationship has gone sour. I've gotten a lot of guys who've gone through divorce, who've been in this exact same situation with Emmitt, so I know exactly what happened here. All right, so let's go through my top 3 reasons. I'll stop, hammering away here. All right, so the first reason why she filed for divorce from him, that I've not heard anybody mention, and this is something that you will understand if you are a subscriber of my channel, if you follow my work, if you bought my programs, you will understand this, okay? Especially if you're in a relationship now and you're going through this, you will understand this, okay? So the first reason why Pat Smith is divorcing Emmett Smith after 20 years and kids together and all this, leaving that relationship at 49 years old, the first reason is because she no longer bought into his frame, okay? She stopped buying into his frame. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is whenever you hook up with a girl and she is into you enough, right? She's into you enough to enter a long-term relationship with you. We call that an LTR, a long-term relationship with you, much less a marriage, right? In order for a girl to make that type of commitment to one guy, especially if she's hot, like Pat Smith was back in the day. She was it's a fine chick, right? Fine chick back then. I don't know, you could form your own opinions of what you think of her now. I mean, I think she still looks good for her age. But when a girl first starts going out with you guys, for her to get into an LTR with you and commit to just you, I mean, especially if she's a good-looking chick, she has to buy into your frame, okay? She has to buy into your frame. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean is she has to want to become a part of your lifestyle, whatever you presented to her, right? She has to see you as higher value than her, okay? Because she's not going to hook up with you if she doesn't feel like you have a lifestyle, a reality, and status that is above hers, okay? And again, if the hotter she is, the higher your status needs to be. You can't be this like equal status to her or maybe just a little bit below her. No, you have to be way above her, right? You have to be way above her. And so when these girls like fall in love with you and they just want to spend all of their time with you and they don't even want to date other guys, it's all about you. The reason why she's so into you is because she's bought into your frame. You feel me? She's bought into your frame. And I see this with every single brand new couple that gets together, right? The girl like is totally into the guy. You've been in this situation too, right? Think you're a girl, think of these girls that you dated in the past that eventually lost interest in you. Think about the very beginning of your relationship and how it was. That girl could not get enough of you, right? Anytime you text her, she texts you right back. Anytime you call her, she calls you right back. Anytime you wanted to do something, she was at your front doorstep. Let's go, boy. Let's go. I just want to be with you, right? Because she was buying into your frame. She believed in who you and who you are, right? She believed like, hey, this guy is it. This guy is the cat's meow. You know, this is who I want to be with. And then through the course of your relationship, she's the more that kind of like alpha aura that she saw in you in the beginning, that started to deteriorate as your relationship went on. And it got to the point where instead of like seeing what was going on and paying attention, you just kind of ignored it and just kind of did your own thing. And the relationship continued to deteriorate to the point where she was no longer buying into your frame. And I saw that happen with Emmett Smith. I looked at the very earliest like interviews they did when they first got married. You could see her. She's like looking up at him as he speaks. Like she was just like in awe of him. She was like, oh my gosh, I'm with Emmett Smith, right? And I've done coaching videos about this too, guys. Like, how do you know like a girl is really into you? You know, how do you spot a guy who's with a chick who's really into him? It's like when he's speaking, she's looking right up at him. She's like just looking at you with eyes of admiration as you speak. And then as the relationship deteriorates, she stops doing stuff like that, right? And I started to look at later interviews that they had, like Pat and Emmitt Smith, and they're like interviewing him, and she's just kind of glaring off. He's talking about his latest accomplishment, his latest award, and she's just kind of like, you know, she's doing that. Okay, and that didn't happen overnight. So whenever I notice that in a dating partner, that someone I'm dating, right? Because it happens to all of us, guys. You know, I mean, hey, I've been doing this all my life. It even happens to me. The only difference between me and everybody else is I've been doing this long enough and I've coached enough guys to be able to spot it right away, to the point where, like, right when I spot it, I nip that shit in the bud. I'll either call the girl out. I'll say, hey, you're not paying attention. I will ghost her if I need to. I'll be like, hey, I'm not going to be with somebody who doesn't respect me to this level. And I will literally go away. Right? And I'll let the girls know, like, hey, these are my boundaries. Do not cross them. Okay? And you have to continuously enforce those boundaries, guys, in order to keep your chick, your female, your woman in check. Right? It's it. That's how you keep her in check. And the problem with a lot of you guys is you don't do that. You don't do the maintenance. It's like, yeah, you finally got the Lambo, right? You finally got the Rolls Royce Phantom or the Ferrari, and you finally accomplish that, but you don't bring it in for maintenance. You don't do the oil changes. You don't do the tune-ups. You just like drive it and think you never have to change the oil, never have to change the spark plugs. And guess what? You do, right? You do. And I'm not trying to say that it takes a lot of work to keep a relationship going, because it should be effortless, right? It should be effortless. But in Emmett's case, that was the first thing I noticed, was she was no longer buying into his frame. So that's number one. The second reason that she ended up filing for divorce from him is he did something that I coin the athlete's curse, right? And I played football for a long time too. I played in high school, college, semi-pro. I played for a long time. And one thing that I've noticed, and I used to make this mistake too, but especially, a lot of guys I played with, my teammates made the same mistake when they were dating a chick, is we tended to treat our dating partners, our girlfriends, our wives, like our teammates, right? We attempted to treat the girl like our teammates, and this is something I see a lot of athletes do, especially athletes who've participated in team sports. You tend to treat your girl like an equal versus a subordinate. Okay? And I know I'm going to get shit for saying that. You cannot treat your girl like an equal. You have to treat her like, it's a subordinate. It doesn't mean to treat her like, like she's a peasant or anything like that. It just means you need to treat her like you're just a step above her, which you should be, right? Which you should be. I can imagine it's like some feminista or like CNN just clipping out that part where I said, treat her like a subordinate. And then it's like the headlines all, pickup artist on YouTube says, treat women like subordinates because they're nobodies, No, I'm not saying that. And don't do any lame ass shit like that. Please don't take my words out of context. What I'm saying is that when you're an athlete, you tend to do this with girls that you enter relationships with, right? You tend to treat them like they are a teammate, right? An equal versus somebody who is not an equal, right? Because I mean, you can't. I've been teaching this stuff a long time, guys. I've been like teaching dating advice. I've coached thousands of guys through their relationships, their marriages, their divorces. I've been doing this a long time, okay? So I'm not just talking about my experience. I'm not pulling things out of my ass. I'm speaking from decades of professional experience coaching guys who've been in this exact same situation. And the guys that have treated their girlfriends like equals, right? They try to do this egalitarian shit, this politically correct shit, and like, oh, equal girl, me and you. Those relationships have never worked out. Okay? I don't know of a single one. Now, there's some that ended up staying together, but they're miserable. The chick is just not happy, and she's poison dripping the husband because she does not respect him. Okay? Because she does not feel like he can lead. Because they're equals, right? It's like, and anytime the guy tries to step up, she gets offended by that, right? Because she views them as equals, because that is the frame that he set for their relationship. Like, we're equals, girls. We're equals, girl. You know, it's kind of like if you're say you're working at like say a car wash, right? And you're working with one other guy who's like also just kind of like washing cars like you are, and then he steps out of line and he tries to act like your boss. You're gonna be like, screw you, dude, you ain't my boss. You wash cars just like me, right? And so what happens with a lot of athletes, and I did this too, I was guilty of this too, I tried to treat my partners like they were my teammates. And the thing with men is, and I've taught you guys this in previous lessons, is when it comes to honor, morals, ethics, these are masculine traits, okay? These are not feminine traits. These are masculine traits, okay? Most women do not possess honor, morals, or ethics, at least not in the way that we do as men. They don't view it the same way, okay? For us, it means something different than what they would view that as. And when you try to treat her like she's like a fellow, teammate of yours, it's just not going to work, man. It's just not going to work. It's like when I started dating girls, I mean, obviously I've gotten smart, because back then when I was treating girls like teammates, I was treating them way better than I treat girls now. And these chicks were dumping me, cheating on me, leaving me, going next door, having sex with their neighbor. Well, my ex used to do that, right? I treated this girl good. It's like, why are you doing this to me? What did I do to you, right? But then once I wised up, right? Once I started absorbing more red pill stuff, and once I went red pill, and this is before we even coined that term red pill, once I started wising up, and especially once I started to achieve success in my own life, I'm like, hey, I'm going to stop downplaying the fact that I'm successful. It's like, you know what? I'm bringing more to the table than you are, girl. I'm bringing more social value to the table than you are. So we're not equals, okay? We ain't equals. And I know that, right? It's like most of these guys that these girls are going to date, they're not going to be able to stay in these like nice fancy hotels on the top floor. They're not going to be able to get concierge service. These guys are not going to have like, the $100,000 car in their garage, living in the $3.5 million home in Hollywood Hills. They're not. They're going to be, I mean, it's like, hey, if you walk from me, good luck finding a replacement, right? I mean, and it's not to be arrogant. It's, whatever level you're at, right? Chances are you're going to be higher value than the females you date, because that's just how, our social values work, is men tend to have higher value than the females that they date. And the relationships where that's opposite, the girl has success barriers, right? And you'll see a lot of girls who will date guys who are like below their social status just because they have those like success barriers. They don't feel like they're worthy enough, which is funny because Tommy Lahren just did like a whole rant about bashing men and talk about how men don't want a high value girl with a job and career. No, they date losers and bartenders and stuff like that. And it's like, hey, Tommy, that works in reverse too, right? I deal with that too. I've dated women who just have success barriers. They don't want to date a guy like me. And then they end up dating a guy who, doesn't have a job, who's unemployed, who bums money from them. And it's like, hey, that's what you want, girl, go for it. But not to get too far off track, that is the second reason why Emmett Smith's wife decided to divorce him, is because he treated her a little too much like an equal, to the point where she started to see him as no better than her. And it's like, no, dude, you are Emmitt Smith. You are a Hall of Fame running back. Act like it. Stop acting like you're some dude who played a year of junior college football and, got injured or something. You never played again. No, you're a Hall of Fame running back. You were a Hall of Fame running back for America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, right? You got to wear that star on your helmet. That is something that she needs to be reminded of. Okay? Whenever she acts out, bro. Whenever she acts out. And you know what? I don't think he did that. I don't think he did that, because she started to treat him like, in the last few interviews that I watched of them, she was treating him like he was just like some junior college athlete, that never went pro or something. So, okay, that's the second reason. And the third and final reason, you guys are going to love this. The third and final reason why Emmitt Smith's wife decided to divorce him is because she loved him more than she respected him. What did I tell you guys about that? Every single time you're with a chick who loves you more than she respects you, done. Done. And the fact that she has even said in interviews that they are going to remain friends, they're going to stay in touch, she still cares a great deal for him, that told me right there. She loves him. I'm not doubting her. At least her concept of love, right? Because truly, at the end of the day, women can never love us. So you know that, right? Watch my coaching video on that too. Brought a lot of hate to my channel because I said that. But when she said that, hey, we're going to remain friends, and I still care for him a great deal, I'm still going to be there for him, it just told me that she loves him more than she respects him. Because when the chick respects you more than she loves you, and you guys, the relationship ends finally, most times that chick doesn't care if she stays in contact with you. A lot of times she doesn't want to, because she's pissed at you. She's resentful. She hates you, right? She hates you, but she still respects you. Okay? I've had a lot of chicks that I've dated that after it was over, they're like, you know what? F him. Screw him. Screw him and his YouTube channel, right? After we dated. But the respect continues, right? A few of these girls who actually said that about me, I hate him, blah, blah, blah. Whenever somebody else tried to agree with them, or tried to say any, like this one girl I dated, I remember her sister told her oh, good riddance for him then. Good riddance, girl. He was nobody. And she was like, hey, don't talk that way about Matt. Only I can talk that way about him. Don't talk that way about him. Okay, because I cared about him. And then she went off on it, right? But she's like, don't talk that way about him. He's actually a really good guy. And then she stepped up and started defending me, right? But it's always going to be a different story, guys, when the relationship ends and she respects you more than she loves you. Okay, because usually when you have that relationship and it's over, she's not going to have really much, she's not going to be like, oh, I just want to continue our friendship at least. No, she's just going to be like, no, it's too painful for her. It's too painful for her, because she knows you're the alpha. And if she knows she can't have the alpha, she just rather not think about it. She doesn't want to stay in contact and torture herself and be friends with you while you date other hot women. She doesn't want to see that, right? But in Emmett's case, she's like, yeah, let's be friends. Because she's like, he ain't going to replace me, right? He ain't going to replace me, right? Maybe she's right, maybe she's wrong, I don't know. But he's Emmitt Smith. But, and the reason why I'm kind of doubting him a little bit is because, again, it seemed to me like throughout the relationship, he stopped acting like a Hall of Fame running back that he is. And then her respect for him started to deteriorate, because she started to see him as an equal, right? As an equal. It's funny, I'm trying to my eyes are shifting because I don't know where to look on this camera. I mean, I'm trying to stay straight here, but it looks like I'm kind of looking left or looking right. I don't normally shoot with this camera. I'm shooting this on the fly. I'm covering this topic because so many of you guys asked me to, and I'm a Cowboys fan. I didn't even know this happened because I don't watch the news, guys. I have a business to run. I just don't really watch the news. You guys had to tell me, and I'm like, what? I remembered when he married this chick. They were so happy, and I was like, Are you serious? I couldn't believe it. And then I had to do my own research and dig in and find out what happened. But those are my top 3 reasons for why Emmitt Smith's wife has decided to divorce him and why he's so devastated about it. You know, and I'm like, dude, why are you so devastated about this? The thing about his wife that I've noticed, okay, from these interviews is, and this is a lesson for the ladies too. This is why I'm surprised that he did not divorce her before she divorced him. The thing I've noticed about his wife is she's just a bit too alpha female, you know, and a lot of women today love to conflate being like a strong woman with being an alpha female, right? And it just depends on what your definition of a strong woman is. But basically, this girl was like a little too alpha. She was definitely not very submissive. I've noticed that too. And this is kind of like a pattern I noticed with a lot of females where their relationships don't work out. And again, I'm shocked that he didn't file for divorce because 99% of the time, the dude just ends it. And I've been with these type of girls who are just too alpha female, just never submissive, just a little too loud for their own good. I always leave these girls. I just lose interest. I just can't deal with that mouth and that constant yap, yap, yap. And most men out there will, no matter how hot she is, will eventually leave a woman or lose interest in a woman who is non-submissive, right? It's just like, it doesn't mean you have to get on your hands and knees and like, you know, like bow down to us every day. No, but it's like, hey, once in a while, just be a little submissive, right? Because we view that as guys as being feminine, right? It makes us feel good. It makes us feel more manly. And whenever we feel more manly and more masculine, it gives you the opportunity as a female to feel more feminine. But when these chicks, right, they keep acting feminine, they keep acting masculine, it doesn't work, right? You have to have that yin and yang. You can't act masculine as a chick and act like a man and acting like a dude and expect your guy to also act like a dude, right? No, most of these guys, they just turn into chicks. They start acting feminine because their woman is just like constantly trying to wear the pants. And a lot of these guys, it just wears them down, and they don't have any of this training, like pickup training or red pill training. So they're just like, I don't know what to do. Okay, I'll let her take the lead. And then eventually the chick just like wanders off on them, loses interest, and divorces them. But yeah, that's something I noticed about Pat Smith, Emmitt's wife, is she was just a little too non-submissive. I just didn't see enough, I didn't see enough submissiveness from her. And the thing about women who are too alpha, non-submissive, chicks like that tend to be, you know, the biggest ball breakers you'll ever date, right? These chicks tend to be the biggest ball breakers that you'll ever meet, just because they're so alpha, they're completely non-submissive, at least towards men, right? I almost feel like deep down, like there's kind of almost like a passive hatred for men, even though she's like, she's not a lesbo, she dates guys, but there's almost like a passive hostility towards men. Right? And the thing about these chicks is they will exhaust you. They will suck you dry of energy with constant nagging, haranguing, need for attention. And that is definitely something I saw in Emmitt's wife. Like throughout all these interviews, she was constantly just like on him, like nagging him. Oh, I'm not getting enough attention. Oh, Emmitt, you just walked right by me at that award ceremony like I didn't exist. You know how invisible I felt? It was like constant nagging, haranguing, need for attention. And it's like, dude, I even read like the comments below on those videos where she was doing that. I would say most of the guys, even a lot of females, were saying the same thing. They were like, oh my God, this chick is exhausting. And it's like, yep, you nailed it right on the head, right? This chick is exhausting, right? No disrespect to his ex-wife, but she's exhausting, man. I've dated girls like this. They're just freaking exhausting. They just need constant attention. They need constant like validation. They need constant like, oh, you haven't told me you love me in 3 days. I need to hear it twice a day. It's like, oh my God, enough. I did a coaching video on my channel about how I had to dump my hot girlfriend. This was a few months back, right? And it's still on my 33 channel. If you watch that coaching video, that was the exact reason why I dumped that chick. It's like I worked so hard to get that chick, right? It took me a while to get her. I finally got her, and I was so excited to be with this chick. Like when I finally knew I had her, she bought into my frame. She was like totally into me. Once we really started getting into the relationship, I noticed I'm like, man, she keeps haranguing me. It's like she wanted me to text her in the morning when I wake up, and then again at night before I go to sleep, and then also during lunchtime she wanted to get like a hello text from me, and then she started complaining that I don't text. I need to text back like at least within the hour. She's like, I understand you're busy running your YouTube channel, and you know you have so many followers, and you have a business to run, and employees all over the world, and other business ventures. But you know what? You need to pay attention to me. You need to pay attention. And I'm like, oh, you know, and it just started to annoy me. It got really annoying, and it just finally got to the point where I'm like, I've had enough. I can't just keep feeding you attention, right? I'm like, I'm not your, you know, I'm not like a water fountain you could just come and keep drinking from. You know, like I said, these chicks will suck you dry of energy, man. They are energy vampires, and you know, sadly, a lot of them tend to be hot. Right? They tend to be hot. Like Pat Smith, she was hot back in the day. She's still pretty good looking for 49 years old. Still pretty good looking chick, right? But these chicks, man, with their constant like need for attention and validation and ego pumping, that's a problem with these girls. They have just too much ego, right? In those relationships, they just never work out. Where the girl just has way too much ego. She just can't stop bugging you. She can't leave you alone. She can't just let you breathe for a second. You know, she can't. It's like she's just constantly on you, man. It's like, I don't care how fine these girls are. It's really sad. It breaks my heart when that happens. And, you know, when I had to, like, dump this chick, I still think about her at times, too. Because I'm like, oh, you know, she was fine. I like this chick. She was hot. We could have looked, I mean, we looked good together. She was great arm candy. And I'm like, why did she have to be like that? And to this day, I mean, and she's frustrated, too, because she wanted it to work out between us. And believe me, guys, I tried. I even like tried to give her an extra 2 weeks to fix it, and it seemed like she just turned it up even more. She was like, oh, you know, how could you even think about breaking up with somebody like me? And how could you even think of wandering out there? Some of these girls are whores and blah, blah. And, you know, it's like, enough, enough. I don't want to hear this anymore. So yeah, I ended that relationship. So this is why I'm just so shocked that Emmett didn't divorce her first. And I'm even more shocked that he's claiming that, or he's saying that he's devastated. He's devastated that this chick, that his wife, respectfully, his wife, ex-wife, has decided to file for divorce. It's like, why are you devastated? In a way, this is a blessing in disguise. I hate to say it. I mean, I usually, when a couple is married for that long, I'd like to see them work it out, especially if they have kids. I really don't know how he lasted this long, guys. I mean, 2 decades with this girl, constantly on him, haranguing him. I've noticed, man, he has aged a little bit over the last decade or two, and I'm going to say a lot of that is probably due to the fact that this chick is just totally just been on him the whole time, breaking his balls. I can't stand dating partners like that, man. I mean, it's like as hot as they are, as fine as they are, as nice as and pleasant as they are to look at, especially in the morning, right? Especially after sex. I mean, it gets to a point where the juice is no longer worth the squeeze, right? The juice ain't worth the squeeze, right? Because, I mean, even the finest girls in the world can get guys to sleep with them very, very easily. But really, the measure of their value is if you could keep these guys around. And you'll see a lot of girls like this, they're not able to hang on to their man. And there's a reason for that, right? I call out a lot of chicks who hate on my channel, and they're doing the same thing. They're just kind of like, you know, just really just so loud and mouthy and just really self-centered. There's a lot of narcissism behind that type of behavior also, right? Because a person can't act that way without being borderline narcissist, or at least having a few psychological problems like borderline personality disorder, maybe even bipolar disorder. But I really truly believe just based on watching interviews with both Pat and Emmett, that yeah, she's definitely carrying some some mental issues. Uh, they don't look like they're extreme, but they're fairly mild, right? They're fairly mild, at least from what I've seen. I would not be able to put up with her acting the way she did towards Emmett. I would literally leave. I mean, obviously Martin left. Martin left after 2 years, right? She was only together with Martin for 2 years. That dude took off. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap up here, guys. Those are my 3 reasons why Pat Smith, Emmett Smith's wife, has decided to file divorce from her husband of 2 decades, Hall of Fame running back for the Dallas Cowboys, America's team. Yeah, you just don't see things like that happen every day. You just don't see it. Sad. It's sad. Especially when I see athletes, I've noticed, like, once the athlete's career is over, their wives, within usually 3 years after their retirement, their wives file divorce from these guys. It's really sad. It's like the wife was there throughout his entire career, while he was on television, while he was on top of the world, like millions of adoring fans around the world, all constantly wanting his autograph. And then once the guy retires, it's almost like that excitement is gone, right? The excitement is gone, and then she, just kind of starts getting bored, and she just wants to do her own thing all of a sudden. And that's the same thing with Emmett's wife, is she was like talking about how, oh, I'm starting this business, oh, I'm doing this, starting this women's group or entrepreneurs group for females and all this other stuff. And I want to focus on that as well as being Emmett's wife. And it's like, those generally don't work out too well. When you're trying to pursue your career and play mom and housewife, those generally don't work out. Personally for me, if I was ever going to get married, it would have to be a girl who strictly wants to be, a housewife, and just kind of like, if she wants to do like a side business, like a business venture or something like that, maybe as a hobby, do something as a hobby. But to completely like split your time and like, oh, I'm going to try to build the next Google and all that. Okay, go do that. You go build the next Google, but I ain't marrying you. All right, I don't want to be in that kind of relationship. If you want to stay friends, I'll support you as a friend, but I'm not going to be the husband who sits at home, who turns into your, basically your equal. Right? It's not really that type of relationship. Anyway, guys, so I'm going to wrap up here. Okay, this coaching video is a little rough just because I'm doing this on the fly, and it's just kind of last minute. I have other content to shoot that I have to move on to. So leave your comments below if you heard about this, about Emmett's wife. I keep like screwing up his name. I don't know why. If you've heard about Emmett Smith's wife divorcing him and him being devastated, and what your thoughts are about it, go ahead and drop some comments below, man. I'd love to hear about it, what your opinions are. Even if you're female and you want to hate, drop those comments below, right? But I mean, that's pretty much my analysis as a professional dating coach, what happened with his marriage. So until next time, I'm going to wrap up here. This is Em from the 33 Secrets. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. For you guys who want to jump into my monthly online coaching program, 7 Months of Mastery, please do that, right? It's only $1 right now, only $1 for the entire first month of coaching lessons. And that way you won't find yourself in this position one day either, right? You won't find yourself in the position of, one of my heroes, man. I hate to say it, Emmett Smith. I don't want this to happen to you guys. A lot of these guys I see get divorced, whether it's a Will Smith or Emmitt Smith or any of these other celebrities, they go through these multi-million-dollar divorces. And I'm like, dude, if you just, you could have learned how to avoid this in the first month of my mastery program for $1. And now you're spending millions on attorney fees and all this because instead of like learning from a professional dating coach, a professional pickup artist who's been out there doing this his entire adult life, instead you bought into those SJW values that you learned from television, movies, the Disney Channel, and look what happened. Okay, look what happened. So I don't want that to happen to you guys, right? If you're going to still be out there dating, if you're going to be out there getting into these relationships and stuff like that, I want to make sure you go in with red pill knowledge and you don't end up, on the front headlines, with talking about how you're devastated, your chick is leaving you. That's never going to happen to any of my students. Okay, I promise you that now. None of my students are ever going to be in that position where they're devastated. Oh my God, I can't believe she's leaving me. You're never going to be in that position when you follow my teachings. Instead, it's going to be you walking out that door. It's going to be you maintaining your value throughout that relationship. It's going to be you checking your girl whenever she steps out of line like that. Like in these interviews where his wife is just kind of glaring off. She's not even paying attention to him anymore. It's like, whoa, that's disrespectful, man. This is Emmett Smith. Yeah, he's your husband. Yeah, you see him every day, and maybe you're, gotten a little too complacent, but you know what? You got to respect your husband, girls. You got to keep respecting him. And for you guys, once you start to see your wife or even just your dating partner start to like lose that level of respect that she once had for you, that's a time where you need to not only just check her, but a lot of times, especially if you've been together for years, a lot of times you're gonna have to go away for a bit, just kind of give each other a break, right? To really allow her the space to remember who you are. Remember who she's dealing with. Remember, you're not replaceable, okay? Because the reason why these chicks leave is because she feels that you are replaceable, right? Because if she doesn't think you're replaceable, she ain't ever going to go back out there looking for another man, right? Pat Smith would not be going out there looking for another guy at 49 years old if she didn't think that you are replaceable, Emmett. And I say that with all due respect. If you ever happen to watch my coaching video, still love you, admire your work. I'm still going to be a fan for the rest of my life. And yeah, I'm a huge Cowboys fan. What can I say? So anyway, until next time, guys.